Okay, hello everyone, welcome to my channel. So first of all, I'd like to say thanks to everyone for clicking on this video and for supporting my Facebook page so far. And in this video, I would like to solve this problem, which is actually very interesting, and I would like to give a very interesting solution to this. Now, I'm going to evaluate the value of 3 plus root 2 raised to power 5 plus 3 minus root 2 raised to power 5 without expanding the powers involved. Now, this means that we should try and solve this question without using any form of expansion like binomial expansion and then collecting like terms. We should try and avoid that. So I'm going to use a very interesting method. So first of all, I'm going to set u to be 3 plus root 2 and then set v to be 3 minus root 2. Now this implies that u plus v is equal to 3 plus root 2 plus 3 minus root 2. Obviously root 2 will cancel this root 2 here. So we'll have 3 plus 3, which is just 6. Now another thing we're going to calculate is u times v. That is the product of u and v. So this is going to be 3 plus root 2 multiplied by 3 minus root 2. Expanding this should be 3 into 3 minus root 2 plus root 2 into 3 minus root 2. Now this should give us 3 times 3 is 9 and 3 times minus root 2 is minus 3 root 2 plus root 2 times 3 will give you 3 root 2 and root 2 times minus root 2 should give you minus 2. So this guy is going to cancel this guy and we just have 9 minus 2, which is equal to 7. Okay, so we have our u plus v is 6 and uv is equal to 7. Okay, so having these two values now, we have that the sum of u and v is 6 and the product of u and v is 7. So we are going to see how this is going to help us solve this problem. So we can let u and v be the roots of a quadratic equation such that the sum of the roots is 6, which is u plus v here, and the product of the roots is 7, which is u times v. So now how do we find this quadratic equation we're talking about? Now remember that the standard form of a quadratic equation is x squared minus the sum of the roots x plus the product of the roots equals to 0. So now we have u plus v is 6, so obviously that's going to be the sum of the roots, and the product of the roots is going to be 7, which is u times v. So the quadratic equation we're dealing with is just going to be x squared minus 6x plus 7 equals to 0. So now why is this important? Why were we so interested in finding this quadratic equation in order to solve this problem? Okay, so we said that u and v are the roots of this quadratic equation, and that means that when x is equal to u, we're going to have that u squared minus 6u plus 7 is equal to 0. And also, since v is also a root, it means that when x is equal to v, v squared minus 6v plus 7 is equal to 0. Now we're going to move this side of the equation to the other side and do the same for this side of the equation. So now this implies that u squared is equal to 6u minus 7, and also v squared is equal to 6v minus 7. So now we're going to call this equation 1 and then call this equation 2. So for equation 1, we're going to multiply both sides of equation 1 by u raised to power n, where n is an integer such that n is greater than or equal to 0. So now n greater than or equal to 0 is an integer, means that we're going to start from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. So we have that n is greater than or equal to 0, where n is an integer. Okay, so u raised to power n times u square is equal to u raised to power n into 6u minus 7. So u raised to power n times u square is going to be u raised to power n plus 2. That is from the first law of indices. So this is going to be u raised to power n plus 2 is going to be equal to u raised to power n times 6u is going to be 6u times u raised to power n. Now u raised to power n times minus 7, this is going to be minus 7 times u raised to power n. So simplifying it once more, u raised to power n plus 2 is equal to u times u raised to power n is going to give you u raised to power n plus 1. So this is going to be 6u raised to power n plus 1 minus 7 u raised to power n. So that is all for equation 1. So now let's see if we can do the same for equation 2. So we're going to multiply both sides of equation 2 by v raised to power n. So v raised to power n times v square is equal to v raised to power n into 6v minus 7. It implies that v raised to power n times v square is going to give you v raised to power n plus 2 from the first law of indices. So that is going to be v raised to power n plus 2 is equal to v raised to power n times 6v. Since you know that from the previous equation, like from equation 1, we already have 6u times u raised to power n is going to give you 6u raised to power n plus 1. So 6v times v raised to power n is going to be 6v raised to power n plus 1. And then v raised to power n times minus 7 is going to be minus 7 times v raised to power n. So this is our equation 2, simplified form. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do now is we're going to do equation 1 plus 2, which is going to be u raised to power n plus 2 plus v raised to power n plus 2 is going to be equal to 6 raised to power u n plus 1 minus 7 u raised to power n plus 6 raised to power v n plus 1 minus 7 v raised to power n. So we're going to see if we can simplify this equation. So this is going to be u raised to power n plus 2 plus v raised to power n plus 2 is equal to, let's put this and this together, then take out a 6, and also put this and this together, then take out minus 7. So this is going to be 6u raised to power n plus 1 plus 6v raised to power n plus 1 minus 7u raised to power n minus 7v raised to power n. So this implies that u raised to power n plus 2 plus v raised to power n plus 2 is equal to 6 into u raised to power n plus 1 plus v raised to power n plus 1. Bring out a minus 7 from these two terms, and we have minus 7 into u raised to power n plus v raised to power n. So be careful not to make this a minus, this is a plus. So we have this, and now we said that n is greater than or equal to 0. So for n is equal to 0, we're going to have u square plus v square is equal to 6u plus v minus 7. U raised to power 0 is 1 and v raised to power 0 is 1. So this is going to be 1 plus 1, which is going to be 2. So we have that u plus v, initially we got that u plus v is 6. So we have that u square plus v square is equal to 6 into 6 minus 7 into 2, which implies that u square plus v square is equal to 36 minus 14, which is equal to 22. So this implies that u square plus v square is equal to 22. Okay, so we see that for n equals to 0, we have that u square plus v square is equal to 22. So for n is equal to 1, we have that u cube plus v cube is equal to 6 into u square plus v square minus 7 into u plus v. Now we have that u square plus v square is 22, and u plus v, we got it initially as 6. So this is simply going to be 6 times 22 minus 7 times 6, which is equal to 90. You can punch that in your calculator. And for n is equal to 2, we're going to have that u4, that is u raised power 4, plus v raised power 4 is equal to 6 into u cube plus v cube minus 7 into u square plus v square. Now u cube plus v cube is 90, which is over here, and u square plus v square is 22, which is over here. So this is equal to 6 times 90 minus 7 times 22, which implies that u4 plus v raised power 4 is equal to 386. Again, you can try that using a calculator and you should get 386. And then finally, choosing n as 3, we have that u raised power 5 plus v raised power 5 is equal to 6 into u raised power 4 plus v raised power 4 minus 7 into u raised power 3 plus v raised power 3. Now u raised power 4 plus v raised power 4 is 386 here, and u raised power 3 plus v raised power 3 is 90 over here. So this is just going to be equal to 6 into 386 minus 7 into 90. So using your calculator, you should get 1686, if I'm not mistaken. So we have that u raised power 5 plus v raised power 5, that is u raised power 5 plus v raised power 5 is equal to 1686. So remember we said that u is equal to 3 plus root 2, and then v is equal to 3 minus root 2. So this implies that 3 plus root 2 raised power 5 plus 3 minus root 2 raised power 5 is equal to 1686. So you can see that we didn't actually have to expand anything. We just needed to find out what the quadratic equation was, then use it to manipulate how to find u raised power 5 plus v raised power 5. So that is how you find the answer to this question. So I'm going to show another problem which you're going to try, and then you can comment your answers on the Facebook page. The link to the Facebook page is on the description below, so you can also comment your answers here under the comment section. Feel free to show a solution to the problem, and thank you for watching. Okay, so this is the question. I think it's similar to the one I did recently, and I don't really see any much difference, but still you can try it and send your solution to the comment section on on my Facebook page, Maths with Buka. The link is in the description below, so feel free to check it out and post your solution.